You're running on the treadmill of work and you're chasing the next promotion, the next pay rise, and it is boring. Today, if you're a young adult and you're starting work, you might feel like you're running on an endless treadmill. The next work assignment, the next task, the next promotion. And you feel a sense of deep dissatisfaction, unfulfillment, and you ask yourself, did I pay $30,000, $40,000? Did I work so hard for 16 years to get this piece of paper, my degree, to come to work to find more of this? Today, why are you not excited by work? And why are you not fulfilled by it? And that is the question that we are trying to answer. Why isn't work fun? And how can we make work more exciting for you? Well, today, let's look at why it doesn't work. In a previous video, I covered the 2 reasons why work doesn't work, or why work isn't fun. And those 2 reasons are, very simply, that first and foremost, work is not supposed to be fun. Think of work as a skill crucible. If you look at how the top athletes train, you might see someone like Michael Phelps or even a footballer. They expect training sessions to be difficult. And out of that challenge comes a sense of fulfillment, of joy, of purpose, as they do what they are placed on this earth to do. But going in with the expectation that work is always going to be fun sets you up for failure, because not every day is going to be a fun workout. I mean, it's going to be ideal if that were the case, that 100% of the days you work become fun, exciting, engaging. But the truth is that it's not going to always be like this. The second reason why work might not always be fun is that work is today, in the knowledge economy, directed by you. That means that the next steps are going to be ambiguous, uncertain, confusing, and you might not have the clear set of steps that you are used to. And in that presence of uncertainty, you are not going to have much fun. Compare this to your university or your high school days, when you wanted to do something, there was a clear set of instructions like do X, then Y, then Z. Submit it on the Turnitin portal, and then get a grade at the end of it. That's easy. So that's the second reason why. And these 2 were covered in the previous videos as a recap. But I want to share with you 2 other reasons that are important. And the first reason is that when you move to work, many of us forget that work no longer is about you, but it's about the wider organization. In university, in school, it used to be just about the individual. You work hard and you get the grades that you want. Occasionally, you are forced to do this thing called teamwork, and then you might be given a group grade. But for the most of it, how good your grades are depend on how great you are in studying or in doing the piece of work. But when you go to work, it becomes more about the organization. How can you leverage the team or the people around you to be able to do better work? How can you serve the organizational purposes, mission, objectives, rather than your own objectives? So work no longer becomes about serving you and your needs, but work becomes about serving the organizational needs. And that becomes a problem in the world of work, when you are forced to transit to this thinking of organizational perspectives rather than your own personal objectives and perspective. In Michael Gerber's great book, The E-Myth Manager, he talks about how work becomes disengaging for many people because they stop thinking about what they want, but they start thinking about what the organization wants. And so today, a simple question for you to re-engage with work is to ask yourself what you want. Not what you want from work, but what you actually want from life. Because this work might not necessarily serve your purposes for life. And that is a good reason for you to perhaps start thinking about something else. The other reason why work isn't engaging or fun for you, or it no longer becomes exciting, is because you focus too much on passion without focusing on what you are purposed for. You focus a lot on your purpose or your calling without focusing on what you are purposed for. What this means is that what you're purposed for is your skills, what you're good at, what you're unique at doing, what nobody else can do. And when you start focusing on your skill, then work no longer becomes some place where you try to find passion, live out your calling, but it also becomes a place where you can build skill slowly, steadily, and deliberately, intentionally. And so work becomes more than just a calling or purpose thing, but it also becomes a way for you to live out your purpose, what you're purposed for. And so how can you make work more exciting for yourself? First, don't expect work to be exciting. I work with many young people in coaching them to live out their fullest purpose. And often they tell me that work is not fun. But then, is work really supposed to be fun? And not every training session is going to be exciting all the time. And so when you look at it this way, that you don't expect every day to be fun, then you stop setting yourself up for failure. The second thing is when you start thinking of work as being boring. Here's something that you can try. Try setting yourself a challenge. For example, if you did X in a certain amount of time, see if you can do it in less time. Or if you used to do X in a certain quality, see if you can raise that quality. So when we look at work through these two axes of quality and quantity, then we start being able to challenge and grow our work attitudes and skills rather than allowing it to simply become a single dimensional thing where you are just looking at the appraisal, what's going to get you a good appraisal, and what's going to help you get that promotion. You start looking at challenging yourself and deliberately practicing your skills. The third thing to do is to understand your skills. In Richard Bolas's great book, What Color is Your Parachute? He talks about this idea and shares this exercise about identifying the common skill themes in your life. In it, he asks you to write down 6 stories of successes or achievements that you have achieved in your life. Like, for example, it can be as simple as organizing a family gathering. What were the skills used there? For example, were you coordinating, planning, assessing the right places, bringing people and connecting them together? What are the skills that you used in that? And as you look at these 6 stories that you write out, look at the common skill themes that you have been using. And as you draw out those themes, then focus on how you are deliberately practicing those skills. Deliberate practice is about intentionally thinking about how you can improve those skills. Very often we think that practice makes perfect, but it's not that. It's practice perfectly that makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. And if you think about it in this way, then deliberate practice is that idea of building that practice, measuring that practice, and learning from it. In closing, today, how do you make work more exciting for yourself? Firstly, accept that work is not always going to be exciting. Look at how you can challenge yourself at work. And last but not least, identify and understand the skills that you have and draw out deliberate practice when you do these skills. Now you might be asking me, why is this important? As we conclude, I want to share this story of my own skill building habit. I like speaking, and since the age of 15, I have been talking in front of large crowds. It started off with dialogues with the principals, where we would have weekly conversations with the principal about issues that were pertinent in that day. For example, should students be allowed to wear ankle socks? Should students have demerit points for certain offenses? Should students be chasing scholarships? And so every time I stood up, I was getting to be known as the joker. And every time I stood up at the microphone, people started laughing at me. People started to jeer at me, pick out my grammatical mistakes. And that was really difficult. But since the age of 15 to this day, it's been 10 years since I've stood up in front of someone to speak. And I can't say that the experience has been very easy, nor can I say that the experience has been fun. There are days when I shivered in my chair, wanted to go to pee, and wondered, why am I doing this to myself? But as I take a step back, I realized that those intentional practices help me to be able to stand today in front of a camera and to talk very easily and very engagingly, and to feel like I'm talking to a friend. I might not be the best at this, but I know that skill is exponential. That the person you see today is exponentially better than the 15-year-old who was shivering, not able to have coherent and cogent thought, and was not able to string together good sentences when people were laughing at him. You see, my friends, today's skill is exponential. Passion is linear. And so if you find yourself struggling at work, not finding work exciting, look at work as a skill crucible where you are deliberately practicing and growing your base of skills. Because today, as Cal Newport says in his great book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, you have to get good before you get good work. Let me know what you think about this passion hypothesis. and how you have deliberately built your skill over the years. Do you agree that skill is more important than passion? Let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.